What is up, guys? Welcome to JS Racing. In this video, I will be showcasing this new system that I've been working on. It's very different to what I usually work on. You know, I usually work on engines, parts, and all that stuff, tools. But this is a completely electronic software-based system, and it's this. I call it the KartHUD. So if any of you guys saw my previous update video and you watched my video all the way to the end, you might have caught a glimpse of this. If not, so this would be your first time seeing it. I call it the KartHUD. The D fell off. I'm missing the D. Anyway, so what do you think this is? Well, I can tell you it's similar to AIM Micron, it's similar to Alfino, those things, but it's not those things at all. And I will tell you what it is. I'll show you real quick. It's a rental car telemetry system. So what does that mean? Now, this system is separated into three major chunks. So one is the KartHUDs. These are all installed onto the karts. They can be competition karts. They can be the those rental karts with the bumpers and stuff. Whatever it may be, this system is supposed to be a low cost and sort of like a mass deployment sort of system. So for a Micron, it's gonna be like very expensive. It's like 300-400 euros for a unit. But these guys, I'm gonna make them for probably around less than 100, something like that. I'm still figuring out the cost, because this case is obviously 3D printed, but for mass production, obviously that's not possible. I'm gonna have to look at. I'm gonna have to work on, you know, creating a mold and also simplifying the electronics in there, make it more compact. So that's going to cost a lot of money as well. So yeah, this is just a prototype. I made two. So I got two. I'm going to make several more, because we are going to be stress testing the system very soon. So I'm going to have to make more. But right now I'm still in the development stage of this unit. And the second part of the system is an app. So the app is currently just an Android app, but I will try to make it a sort of iOS, Windows, and Mac OS app, because I'm using Flutter to develop these systems, the software. So it's compatible to all these the operating systems. So I just need to make some very minor changes to actually deploy it to all these operating systems. So yeah, so there is an app that controls everything. And the third thing is a base station. And the base station is very, very important and ties everything together, because the base station contains a GPS base station module that is able to provide RTK telemetry positioning sort of thing. So RTK just stands for real-time kinematics. What it does is it combines the GPS system that you, like all the satellites that you're already familiar with, but with a sort of like a static nearby base station as an extra source of correction. So the normal kind of GPS that only relies on satellites, it may be able to achieve like accuracies of a meter, something like that, sub-meter, some maybe. But with the RTK system, you can go well, not millimeter, centimeter grade sort of accuracy. Now, I probably don't need to be that accurate, but because we're trying to have the system calculate delta, lap time, all these things, we want to be as accurate as possible, so that the delta or lap time is reflecting the real lap time as closely as possible. So having said that, let me just go back to the KartHUD unit and explain to you what functions it can perform. So first of all, you can see that in the middle, I mean, there's speed, but also there's RPM. So just like the Micron, you can connect a wire, wrap it around the ignition coil, and it will detect the RPM. Now, for this unit, to read the RPM, it does two things. One is obviously for the driver to know how much RPM you're running at, but secondly, it actually has a kill switch function, so it has a limiter, and also we can turn the engine off. So for rental karts, the problem that we have is with new drivers or people who are inexperienced, sometimes they will just have their foot on the gas, and when they panic, they just won't lift. So what we can do is we can remotely limit the speed of the engine, or we can completely turn it off. As long as this unit is powered on, then we can do that remotely. So this is more of a safety function, but also because we are going to be issuing flag signals from the race control app. So there are some flag signals there where we can force slow down of the kart units if we know that the driver is inexperienced. So we can force that on the driver. So yeah, that's the first very important safety function of this unit. The second thing is this unit doesn't have a very big battery, and it's not supposed to have a very big battery. It only has about 1500 milliamps per hour. So to power this, I actually have a sort of buck converter inside this unit as well. So if you have GX 200 as your engine, or 300, 390, whatever, there is an option for those electronic starters. If you use those, that means you have a flywheel and a coil that can actually power something. So what you can do is you plug the wires into this unit, and it will continuously power this unit and charge the battery at the same time. So that allows us to obviously run the kart full day, no problems. And also we can run races, endurance racing, all that stuff for rental karts, club karts, whatever club races, and we won't need to worry about having to charge these units. So that's another thing that's very important. Thirdly, obviously to take advantage of the RTK corrections, all these units are also fitted with an RTK capable GPS module. So to achieve this, we also have to have the antenna as an external antenna. So compared to the microns or finals or whatever, these things are not compact. They have a lot of wires sticking out, but it's also supposed to be a permanent installation onto the kart. So you can actually monitor whatever, you can control it. Now on the app, what I'm currently programming it to do is trying to make a lot of the operation process as hassle-free as possible. So when, for example, a person wants to buy 20-minute session, or locally we actually sell by laps. So we sell 20 laps, 30 laps, whatever. This thing will help you keep track of those laps or minutes. And when it's on the final lap, as it approaches the pit entry, so it's usually the last corner, it will start the limiter and it will slow down your kart. So I mean, there are morons who would think they can cheat the system, and that happens to us a lot, and they would just keep going even if we wave the flag or whatever, and we'd actually have to physically run onto the track and wave the flag in front of the face, which is very dangerous. So this would actually solve that problem, would slow down their kart forcibly, and they just have to go back to the pit. They can drive at the slow speed throughout the entire lap again if they want, but obviously it's not going to be fun. So yeah, this is going to force them back into the pit. So that's another thing that is very important with this unit. Another thing is these units all communicate with each other. So if someone does a best lap of the day, like right now, it will update it at the bottom, like in purple, and the driver would be able to see, oh, okay, so someone's doing a much quicker lap. Maybe I can, attempt a quicker lap. And on the left-hand side, you have an NA. That's supposed to show you the delta. So the delta is going to be compared against your own best lap, but you obviously can chase the best lap of the day. So whenever someone gets the best lap of the day, it will be updated onto your system and you'll be able to see it. Another thing is we have this LED strip. Now, if you look on the top corners, okay, it is sort of like an indicator to show you whatever mode you are showing those LED lights. Now, there are 4 modes. One is RPM, so it's just showing you the RPM. The other is speed, and then you have a macro delta, and there's a micro delta. I don't know how to name those properly yet, but I am trying to think of a much more elegant solution. But the idea is the macro delta, you're going to have 8 bulbs. So it's going to split the track into 8 sections. So whatever speed or time you're running at for that particular sector compared to your quickest lap, it will show purple, green, or yellow. Okay, so it's just going to show you real quick the 8 bulbs, how you're doing throughout the entire track. Now with the micro delta, the 8 bulbs, each bulb is actually representing 0.1 second. So if you're quicker in this particular segment, maybe like by 5 seconds, not 5, 0.5 seconds, it will show as 5 purple lights. And by the segments, it's hard-coded for this particular function, and it's going to be 30 to 50 segments. I think 30 would be better. It's going to be easier for the unit to keep track of and to calculate live. But yeah, the idea is to sort of give the driver many choices on what sort of data they want shown on screen. So I'll just show you real quick. You can see in the top corner, so macro delta, RPM, speed, and micro. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of a more elegant name. So yeah. Anyway, so other than the lights, there are different screens. So this is a second screen. There is a problem with the best top speed of the day. Obviously, I didn't do 21,000 kilometers per hour, so that's a bug I'm still fixing. Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to develop 3 things at the same time, there's bound to be some bugs. But anyway, the important function for this particular screen is, first of all, it's going to show a track layout, and it's going to show your live position and everyone else on the track. But that's not really that important for practice mode. But in race mode, it might be more important. But another thing is the theoretical best lap. So what this does is it will take all the best segments and stitch them together and then give you the best lap that you can do up to now. So for Micron, it's always done at the end of the session. For this, it's live updated. So every lap you complete, it's going to update once. So it should show you your theoretical best lap to be quicker and quicker and quicker. And then the third screen is just the lap history screen. So it's just going to show you the top speed that you did, lowest, max RPM, lowest RPM. It's pretty much the same as the Micron GUI. So yeah, that is practice mode. So practice mode is just, for daily running. But this unit and this entire system has a race mode, and the app has a very in-depth race control that I will showcase some of the functions. I'll explain it to you, because right now I don't have these installed on the card, so I'm indoors, so there's no GPS, whatever. But right now we have a race mode that you can actually run the race and have everything set up, and it will just automatically run everything for you. Obviously, there's a lot of human confirmation that is required to run the race, but a lot of the heavy lifting is done in the system, which I'll show you later. But for the KartHUD screen, what's important is that there is a lap count and a position count, which shows you your current position in the race, how many laps you've completed or how many laps remaining. And also, you can see that the delta area is different now. The one on the left, is it left? Yeah, right, whatever it is on the screen. What those boxes on the top and bottom are is actually the interval. So the top shows you the cart in front, and then the bottom shows you the cart behind you. So For example, if you're 2 seconds behind the cart in front of you, it's going to show 2 seconds, and then the cart number in the box. So whatever cart number that is in front of you, and then it's the same thing for the guy behind you. Now, if you overtake the guy in front of you, then the guy that used to be in front of you will be the one behind you, and then the top one will update to the other cart that is in front of you. So that gives you a very good visual sort of update to see if you're chasing the guy in front of you, because you're also looking at your delta. Then you know that you're doing your best laps, but somehow you're still not chasing the guy in front of you. Maybe then you're not running quick enough, whatever. And obviously the second screen is still the same. You're gonna see a theoretical best lap, it tracks, whatever. These are all the same, but obviously you're not going to be staring at those screens during the race. You're going to be more looking at this. Those other screens are more for when you are at the end of your session. Maybe you just finished qualifying. This will show you your results, and I will be adding a screen to this mode to show after qualifying which place you are at, so that when you going to your grid place or pre-grid, you know exactly where to go. So all the messages are updated on this system, and that's pretty much the gist of this system. Now, there is another mode for this thing, and that is the developer mode, which I use all the time. And that allows me to do a lot of functions, test a lot of functions. But the most important function that this has is that I can do track recording. So what I can do is I record the outside perimeter of the track, the outside white line, and then I record the inside white line. And then I sort of register where the start finish line is. I register where the pit entry is. I register where the pit exit is, and it will draw out the entire track. It will store it in memory, and if there are any units that doesn't have that track layout, it will automatically send it out to everyone that is within that system. So as long as you have the KartHUD unit and you are registered to that particular track, then you'd be able to get the track data. So that is very important for validating track and also tracking people, running around the track, all that stuff. So yeah, it's very important, the track recording function. So let's move on to the app. So the app has practice mode and race mode. I don't know if you can see it. But there are other modes where you can do fleet management. It manages all your carts with the KartHUD that is installed. So the KartHUD actually keeps track of RPM runtime. It also has a logging function every day. So the fastest lap, how many sessions, how long it's running. It also has a crash detection. So all of that is very important for maintenance and also disputes. So one big problem that we have is if you have customers that are just driving like idiots, they're maliciously causing collisions, we can pull the data out and then say, hey, before colliding, you didn't even lift your throttle. You were just accelerating and stuff. You just crashed into him. What's the deal? So, you're going to have to cover the cost of repairs, whatever. So that's something that is very useful for the crash detection. But for the app, more importantly is once everything is tracked inside the fleet management, we can have a maintenance schedule, which allows you to sort of keep track of what is done to the cart and what is coming up. So you set the schedule, obviously. So you set how many hours you need to oil change, blah, 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 how many hours you need to do this and that. And you can track it all here, and it will remind you to also get ready for repairs or buy parts, whatever. Another thing that is very important for fleet management is actually connected to either the race mode or practice mode. I'll show you the practice mode. It's a very simple GUI, but what it does is if you press any of these cards, it allows you to sort of send them out in terms of laps or minutes, and there's an OOC button. What that does is it puts the cart out of commission, and then you have to select the reason why. Once you have that confirmed, the cart will be taken out of circulation and sent to fleet management, which actually will have a message broadcast to the base station, and the base station will have a screen that is going to be broadcast to the repair, the garage, whatever, and then people at the garage would be able to tell, okay, so and so cart just had a collision, something's broken, blah blah. We need to get the cart back, fix it, blah blah. And another thing is, once they fixed it, they will say, I just fixed it, but the final confirmation is on this app. So whoever is controlling the app has the final confirmation. So if you just fix the cart, you push it back to the, I don't know, the pit lane, whatever, the guy has to inspect it, and then he'd be saying, okay, this cart is ready. And then once he confirms, it puts the cart back into circulation, and this is all logged, everything, how it's fixed, how long it took, blah blah. So you can also sort of say track your efficiency. So if certain thing broke and then you send it to repair and then it took like 30 days to fix, and then you can say, hey, what happened? So because if you don't confirm that it's fixed, it will never be made available, at least in the system, for you to run. So if you decide to just run without the KartHUD, sure. I mean, that's all everyone's doing, but you know, the KartHUD is there to help you track everything. So we have a fleet management system, and we also have, you know, set up KartHUD system. So what it does is it would detect all the KartHUD units through Bluetooth, and then you can set all the parameters for all these KartHUDs. So you can say, this is unit 22, this is unit 44, Hamilton's cart, whatever. And you can select the vehicle type. It's a double-seater, it's a high-powered rental cart, it's a entry-level rental cart, whatever. You can set all of that. And all of that will be reflected in your practice mode, where it will have like different categories, all the carts available in different categories. And for example, if you put a cart into, on the track, like for example, cart 10 is on the track, it will be taken out of the top list. So it'll tell you it's running, and the pop-up window is very different for when it's running. Actually, I'm going to be adding an other button there just to say that you can reassign the cart. So when you reassign a cart, for example, some cart went out of commission, you want to reassign another cart for the customer. So all of the lap time data will be transferred to the new KartHUD. So if someone's chasing their quickest lap and they need all that delta to reflect on the new cart, this will help you do it. It will transfer everything to the new cart. So yeah, I mean, we can, also issue flag signals. We can slow their cart down. We can end their session forcefully as well if someone's behaving erratically. Yeah, I mean, it's that's all the functions that we usually use. I don't know if there's any more functions that is typically being used out there, but that's all the functions that we're using. So this is the base station setup screen, and obviously there's no GPS signal right now, but what it does is it allows you to set the track ID, right? It also allows you to set the track location, do surveying, all that stuff. So yeah, everything's managed on this app. Anyway, so for race mode, okay, so we go into race mode. Once you go in, if there's no race running, you can set up the race. So right now we can set how many practice sessions you can run, how long is each practice session, what kind of style of qualifying rounds that you want to do. You can do F1 style, which is actually coded into the system. So F1 style is hard coded to 3 queues, Q1, Q2, Q3, and then you can set how many carts are being knocked out per round. You can set how long each round of the qualifying is, how many races. You can set how many heats. You can set the race by laps. And you can also set the time that you want to buffer in between the sessions. So there is a before and after the session. So you can set 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever. And once you have all that set, you just pick the date, okay, to set which day happens for what session, and it will just automatically line everything up as long as you have the first session of the day, the time set. Once you have that set, it'll line up the timetable for you, and then you can adjust the subsequent sessions, what time it happens, what time it starts, and it will continue to update the timetable for you. The other thing that you can do is register. Oh shit. The other thing that you can do in the setup is you can register carts. So whatever carts that you have in the system that has the KartHUD, for example, all this, set all up. Each cart that you tap, okay, you can also enter the driver name, team name, or driver names if it's an endurance race and you have swapping drivers. Once you have, for example, these carts registered, you can register carts and it will pop up with this. What this does is that it generates a username and password for the team managers that they can log in to their own cart. So the base station will actually be constantly beaming this web page where you can log in, and it will show you your cart's data and also any penalty messages or any messages from the race control. So this is actually very important for the team manager to actually access. So the other thing is penalties. So you can set up penalties. So what these penalties do is you can set the value for like, if it's drive-through, there's no value, but it does check. So for example, if you are sending the drive-through penalty to someone, the KartHUD on board will actually check if you've actually gone in to the pit entry and then exited from the pit exit, and it will track your pit lane speed at that time, if you're speeding or not. But there are other penalties like stop go, grid place, all that stuff. If it's like stop go, you would have to go into the pit lane and you will have to be stationary. Once you're stationary, which will be kept tracked by the KartHUD, you will see a countdown on screen. So it'll be red and then counting down however many seconds that you need to do the stop go. And once it's green, you can go. Okay, so grid place penalties is also served at the end of the qualifying sessions, whatever. So yeah, these penalty settings are very important for when you run the race. And when you run the race, you can issue these penalties just by tapping the cart numbers. So you tap the cart number and then there's a list of penalties you can list, and you can just press it and it will be broadcast to the penalty that to the KartHUD that is serving that penalty, and also to the web page so the manager can see it. If it's an endurance race, we usually allow teams to have radio, so they will be telling the driver as well vocally that, dude, you need to come and serve this penalty, whatever. Also, after every session of the race, I do have an export PDF function. So what usually happens during races is that after every session, there will be a printout of everyone's results, and this will automatically generate that. For practice sessions, that's pretty simple, but for qualifying and race, before it actually prints out the final sort of results, it will automatically apply all of those penalties, and it will allow the user to double check or apply more penalties. If there are penalties that you did not serve to those guys in time, you didn't have time to press the buttons, then you can actually apply it after the fact, which you will have to, it will be broadcast to the managers, but, they will come to dispute it, whatever. But all of this will be calculated in system, and the final printout will be uploaded to the web page so everyone can see it and also print it out. So that's basically what the KartHUD race control does. The base station keeps track of everything. It will broadcast it. It will broadcast the RTK correction signals. This is like the ultimate control for everything. And then the KartHUD units themselves and also all of the peer units will keep track of each other, update each other, and that's basically what the entire system does. It's to make operation of rental carts easier. You can run races easier. Is it there to replace MyLapse or Micron? No, not at all, because it's just completely different thing by itself. It's more aimed at the rental market. and it has to be running outdoors as well. So if you're indoors, you're shit out of luck, you know, because without signals, you're not going to be able to use any of those GPS related functions, which is basically most of them. So it's more for outdoor tracks, rental carts, and yeah, I mean, it's right now I'm at like 80% development. I'm almost there. It's right now it's just more tweaking the accuracies, tweaking bugs and all that stuff. But I think I'm almost there. So after all the software, everything, all the firmware is done, we'll be, well, I mean, I will be building another 8 units. So we have 10 units in total. I'm going to start stress testing it, running practice sessions, running race sessions, whatever, over and over again, weed out the bugs, check accuracy, signal interference, all that stuff, seeded processing speed, all that. And if that all that works out, we will be deploying this system first in our own track, which I talked about in my previous video. But yeah, it's gonna be a long time before I start, feeling confident that the system is good for, mass producing for everyone else to use. But it is a very ambitious system, but it's almost there. Most of the functions work perfectly, and it's just more testing out all the little nuances of all the functions. And every time you add something, there's some bugs would pop up and stuff. So it's just really weeding out all the rest of the stuff. But anyway, so that's pretty much it. I think I'm going to be making more videos on this system, so you can consider this as the KartHUD saga. But yeah, I will be keeping you guys posted on the development of this system if you're interested. And yeah, that's it for this video. It's been a really long one. It's, oh my god, it's like almost an hour. So I'll cut this short, real short, hopefully. And yeah, I mean, if you guys have any suggestions on what other functions that I should be implementing, let me know, and I'll keep you guys updated on how the system goes. Anyway, that's it for this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
All right, I just want to show you guys just how many iterations I have gone through for the KartHUD unit. So starting right here, that's like the oldest first generation box, and it just looks absolutely ugly. It's very simple. This is where I put the I think it was like a Hall sensor, because there's like a wire that's supposed to go in there, so it's like a Hall sensor. But then I realized that the Hall sensor wouldn't work, but whatever. This is where I put a electronic switch. This is the GPS module. So it's the case cover. Looks really ugly, and then I decided I should shrink it and make it a bit smaller, so I did, but then it's a lot thicker. But anyway, everything's more compact, but the wall is very, very thick, so I decided to upgrade it again, so make it thinner, compact everything a bit more. This is where I put the M8 screw, so it comes out, and then I can actually fix it to the steering wheel, which is the same design as here and here, but this one is a lot stronger. And I started using these drop-in screws, threads, whatever you call them, that you melt in. And then I decided, why not make it prettier? So I sort of did like a more rounded shape, but it became a lot thicker. So you can see the thickness of this. It's just really thick, even comical, so it's like that much thicker. Then I started using a lot of these screws, and they have connectors and stuff. And then I decided to, improve upon the design. I even had like side ports and stuff. These are the ports where the buttons go. But I didn't end up using this case because I, forgot to put these connectors in. And then this is where I decided I should add a battery to the unit. So this is where I have a really thin 3mm thick, I think it was like 500 milliamps hour battery. It was like really, really small, and it was crappy, The unit would just run out of battery very soon, so I decided, okay, you know what, go big. Decrease the thickness because it's just really thick, and then make it thinner, but spread everything out wider, increase the thickness of the battery. So over here I was already using like a 8mm thick battery, so it was like a 1500 milliamp hour battery. So I had like all these connectors, antenna port, and I still use the side port for the switch and the USB thing. And yeah, it's basically after I went for this design, pretty much everything stayed. This is actually the first design, and that's the second, because in the first one I had these raised, but then I realized that, you know, in order to, you know, put those I don't know what you call it, the melt drop-in threads, I don't know what you call it, but these became a problem. So I ended up just, you know, reduce that raised bit to just completely flat, because, you know, the thickness of this is just at 4mm. So when I just drop it in, those threads, it's just like, you know, it's flush. So that's pretty much what I went with. And then with the covers, I went with a lot of different versions, but they look very similar. That's actually a misprint, you can tell. But it ended up being a design similar to, yeah, this. So there's like the LED strip on the top, that's the label on the bottom. And yeah, I mean, that design's pretty much stayed within, yeah, pretty much all the way. I mean, once I went with this wider sort of crab case looking design, I just, yeah, pretty much stuck with it. In the beginning I had only 2 buttons, but then I realized I needed more, so now I have 3 buttons. Yep, that's the 3-button version. So, oh yeah, the difference between these covers, this cover and these covers, is that this one is actually printed like this on the board, on the plate, hot plate, upwards. So the finish looks nicer, but the bottom looks like shit. And the bottom looking like this actually had a lot of problems with fitting as well. So I ended up having to just stick with this kind of printing. So it's this side on the plate and then printing upwards. So it looks ugly, but it works a lot better. So that's the KartHUD casing. And this is the evolution for the base station. So this is like way in the beginning when I decided to just use a very small processing development board thing and then the GPS module. Then I thought it wasn't quite elegant because it just looks like shit. So I decided to go with this kind of flat box design. So it was still like, you know, just these 2 units, you know, so one on this side, one on this side. But then the processing power wasn't enough. So now it looks like this. That's the base unit. It's a lot bigger. And the base unit is stationary anyway. So I just, you know, connect it to a wall socket and just let it sit there. Have the GPS antenna exposed outdoors, and that's it. You know, this one is a lot bigger. I mean, it doesn't really need to look nice because you can just hide it. And yeah, this is the base station that keeps track of everything and broadcasts all the data to a web page, and, you know, broadcast all the RTK corrections. So yeah, that's what it looks like. And yeah, everything fits almost okay. I mean, this is a very much first edition of this big case, so a lot of things I had to cut to sort of make way for the port. So I'm gonna have to adjust it, but yeah, I think this would be the last version for the base station, and this is the last version for the 3D printed version of the case. When we work with a company to reduce all the electronics, compact it, we're gonna design a completely new case, much more compact, thinner walls, and hopefully not as bulky. So yeah, I mean, right now it's pretty bulky because first of all, you have a lot of places that is actually supposed to be like modules and stuff like that. So if you have all the things reduced to just one single board, all these spaces can be reduced, and yeah, hopefully it will look a lot more elegant. Anyway, let's talk about the functions.